been attending the High Court just up the river here and the Four Courts because of a case that is going through at the moment. It's a symphysiotomy case. To those of you who don't know what symphysiotomy is, not to worry, there's lots of medics who don't know what it is. There's very good reason they don't know what it is, because they're never going to have to do one. This case, the procedure happened in 1963 and it happened in the Coombe Hospital. A woman went to the Coombe. She was given this procedure and told, "We are going to help you have your baby." And off she was taken to the theatre. And when she came back, when she came round, she thought she had had her baby. She had not had her baby, and nobody told her she had not had her baby. And because she had had the symphysiotomy, where the baby was when she was lying down, her tummy had flattened. And when eventually she was told, "You are still pregnant," she was absolutely terrified. She didn't know what was going on. She was taken from her bed and brought down to the toilets. And when she sat down, she literally felt her body was splitting in two. She was then made walk from that bathroom. She said she clung to the wall, trying to make her way back to the bed, with the other hand holding her baby in place because she felt her baby was going to fall out of her. Now, to give an idea of what symphysiotomy is, first and foremost, the pelvis. The pelvis is the very foundation that we rely on. Our upper body sits on it and our lower body hangs from it. It is basically a ring, and a ring that is broken is not a strong ring. How this was broken was by cutting a point at the front of the pelvis called the symphysis. This symphysis is made from cartilage and it's very fibrous. It is not easy to cut through, and no ordinary scalpel will cut through it. However, when a surgeon has actually managed to cut through it, it is vital that on either side of the prostrate woman there be two nurses to hold her legs in place. This is the horror that these women went through, but it didn't stop there, because afterwards they weren't informed about what had happened to them. They didn't know that this was not childbirth. They left hospital having to go back to their mammies. They were unable to lift their own babies. They were told not to lift their own babies. And this woman, after her symphysiotomy, had to wait another 12 days before she delivered her baby. Her baby was so badly damaged, she had to be resuscitated. This was information that was never given to the woman until she finally, a few years ago, requested her medical records. But what she did have were the memories while she lay in that hospital bed of her mother coming to her. This you will not hear from in the press because it is considered too grotesque. If you don't want to hear it, I suggest you put your fingers in your ears now. The grandmother described her grandchild as a skinned rabbit. The husband and father, when he saw the baby, he had to run to be sick. This is the damage that was caused to the baby. This is what the women who are the survivors of symphysiotomy are fighting to have heard. They don't know why they were chosen to have this. One of the reasons women were chosen was because they were small. If you had a small shoe size, you may well have gotten a symphysiotomy. And the lifelong injuries that these women have endured are incontinence and difficulty walking, because remember, those two legs, if they're not held in exactly the correct place, they're then positioned in an incorrect place, and then you have to learn how to walk again. So this case has been running for 4 weeks in the forecourts. It is going into its 5th week next week. It will probably be its final week. And if anybody is interested in showing support to these women, I'm sure they would be delighted. They're literally little older women. They come from the 4 corners of the country every single day to support this woman, because previously, having been pushed into the private sphere, they did not know that this happened to other women. They did not know what had happened to them. And now that they have found each other, they offer each other great support. However, the same cannot be said for the Irish government, whose redress system has not met with the approval of these women. And rather than accept it, they are going through the courts and hoping that there, at last, many decades later, they will finally receive justice. Please do show them support. If you cannot be there in person, you will find live tweeting using the hashtag #Symphysiotomy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's a really harrowing example of the way women have been treated in this country, but still so very relevant today, considering how the government are continuing to abuse these women. Our next speaker is Joanna.